Hello, everybody. Welcome back into the Madman Betting Podcast. Guys, we are so glad you stopped by. For all of those that's been listening, everybody that's followed us on all of our social media, over on the website, YouTube, listening to our podcast, we really appreciate everybody. Just wanted to say that this morning. We got to give a huge thank you to everybody out there that follows the Madman every single week. So far through the year, looks like we're up over 115 units to start the season. We still got a few weeks left. One thing we did cash, and I forgot completely about mentioning it on the podcast, but back in July, and I hope everybody took it, we gave out Carolina over their win total of 4.5, and they have surpassed that. So that ended up being a pretty big win for us, cashing that win total. Guys, it's been a fun season so far, so we just want to keep this Madman train rolling, get us to the window and cash these tickets. Before I get started, next week our podcast may come out a little bit late, so I wanted to let everybody know. We wish every single person out there a happy Thanksgiving. Just want to let everybody know that. It's holiday season, so we want everybody to have a great holiday season. And a lot of football coming up next week. Got a few games Thursday. Got games Friday. We're going to try to get our podcast out a little bit early next week. That way we got plenty of plays. We're going to give out some of those Friday games. I know there's a ton of them, so we'll dig in deep and try to find some winners. And again, try to get this train to the window and cash some tickets. Looks like right now, just real quick, we'll touch back on where we sit for the season. Dog of the week last week we split. Texas did not show up, and I really thought Texas could pull that upset. Northwestern got the cover for us, had a chance to win the game, so we split those. We're 9-4 on the season, plus 24 units on our dog of the week. That thing continues to make money every season for us. College football, 137 games, 73 and 63 with a push. NFL, 64 games, 42 and 23, 61 units, 31 units in college. We got that cash on Carolina win total, puts us at 116 units. So thank you guys so much for following us. We appreciate it. Hey, tell a friend to get on the Madman train and follow us. We're going to try to continue to cash tickets and hopefully get this bad boy up over 200 units come into the season. Before we get started on some plays, and before we get started on talking about NFL or college games for this week, let's touch base on a couple things. About 6 weeks ago on the podcast, I sit down and told you James Franklin getting fired, that Tech would go after him. Tech has landed James Franklin. He's your next coach, and guys, I think it's going to make an immediate impact. I call him Big Game James, and everybody does. He can't win those big games. I think in the ACC, it's going to be set up a little bit different. Whether he wins those big games or not, I still think it's going to put Tech back on the map, because he can get those wins through the season and end up 10-1, 9-2, 12-1. So that's a huge hire for Virginia Tech. Like I said, guys, about 6 weeks ago, so I got a lot of heat from a lot of people that told me there's no way that Tech would ever sign James Franklin, when I put that podcast out. But here we are. They've got him. And guys, I'll be honest with you. I really believe that they're going to try to get Lane Kiffin to leave Ole Miss. He may stay. That would be great for those kids. He has done a bang-up job at Ole Miss, but sometimes they start throwing that money around, and that money gets to the point where it's just hard to turn down when you got jobs like LSU, Florida. There's going to be a couple other jobs come open too, I'm sure, because I wouldn't doubt it if Eli Drinkwitz don't end up at Penn State. So mark that down and see if that happens. But looks like they're trying to get Eli Drinkwitz, which opens up a Missouri job. Golesh down at South Florida, he's going to take a job, I'm sure. He's got a lot on his plate. I'm sure his phone's ringing. Dan Mullen's, I'm sure his phone's ringing out at UNLV. That could be an opening. South Florida could be an opening. So there's a ton of things happening in the college football world right now. And again, we've talked about this NIL and the way things would change once that NIL and that transfer portal started, now it's bleeding over into the coaching situation where these contracts are going to be set up for NIL deals / salary to get these guys more money. So it would not surprise me if there's not a total of 20 different job changes in the college football landscape this year, which would be, if I'm not mistaken, more than has ever happened. So it's going to be interesting getting through the rest of the college football season. Huge distractions for several of these coaches. For example, Ole Miss with a 10-1 record. Huge distraction for Lane Kiffin. Huge distraction for South Florida, sitting at 7-3, trying to win that AAC. Huge distraction for Missouri as they try to make their way into the bowl season or shake up that SEC. So guys, it's going to be interesting going down the stretch to see which of these teams can focus and get the job done. Because if you go into the playoffs and you got a coach that's leaving, that's a huge detriment to the program, because it's hard to concentrate enough through the week just to get in. Once you get into those playoffs, if you're distracted, it's going to make it extremely difficult for those teams to win those games. So again, it's going to be very interesting as we go down through the rest of the season. Guys, we got a ton of college football to get to. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a few minutes, but before I do, make sure you get over to madmanclub.com, get registered today. All of our college plays, NFL plays, and that Madman Dog of the Week every single week over at madmanclub.com throughout the rest of football season. All of these things are no charge. So all you got to do is get registered. Guys, get over to TikTok. Follow us on our TikTok page. Follow us over on YouTube. We got our shorts. The full video podcast is over on YouTube. We are also on all the podcast platforms. We look forward to having you guys follow us. And guys, tell a friend. You know, like I said, we're up over 115 units on the season. We're at 57.6%. And believe me, I'm extremely thankful that we've done what we've done, because it is very hard to hit these numbers. And so far this season, we've done a bang-up job getting to where we've gotten. And we won't take any of it for granted. We're very humble. We know that at any given time we can have a losing week, which we've had, and hopefully not a disastrous week, which I have seen in the past. But guys, we are going to continue to dig deep, try to find these winners, and get you to the window to cash some tickets. Guys, we'll be back in just a couple minutes, and we're going to go over some college football plays for this week. Welcome back in, guys. We're going to talk about a little college football, dive right in to some of these games on Saturday. We've got several that we've got our eyes on, starting with one that I believe is a perfect look-ahead spot. Michigan is playing Maryland this weekend. They're giving Maryland 14.5 points, and sitting on deck for Michigan is Ohio State. Their game of the year, as we know, waiting in the wings, and they're playing Maryland on the road, giving them 14.5. Guys, Saturday at 12 o'clock. I'm sorry. Looks like 4 o'clock. Hold on one second. Let's verify, make sure. They are on the road. They're at Maryland. Maryland's hung around with some of these teams this year. I believe that Maryland can keep this game close. I don't know that Maryland could beat Michigan. They're sitting there at 4-6. Michigan's 8-2. But again, anytime you've got that waiting in the wing, that big rival waiting the next week, sometimes you come out there and play with your food a little bit, and you end up having to try to win that game late. That's exactly what I think is going to happen. Guys, play for Saturday at 4 o'clock in college football. Take the Maryland Terrapins against Michigan, plus the 14.5. Again, Madman play. Take Maryland plus the 14.5 Saturday at 4 o'clock. Next one up, Houston at home hosting TCU. TCU is 6-4. Houston is 8-2. Houston still playing for something. TCU is as well, trying to get a better position in a bowl game, or maybe even try to make their way into the playoff as far as Houston's concerned, which probably won't happen because you've got Texas Tech and BYU who are probably going to end up playing in that Big 12 championship. However, Houston at home, this game is sitting right now at Houston minus 1.5. I really like the Horned Frogs in this spot. Seems like Sonny Dykes always gets his team ready in a game where they need it versus a game where they don't. They seem to play a little bit better. Guys, TCU, Madman play, 4 o'clock on Saturday. Take the Horned Frogs plus the 1.5 as we think they're going to win the game outright against Houston. TCU Horned Frogs plus 1.5. Another game on Saturday. I really don't like to take this game, but I'm going to take it just because of sheer principle. This game is Saturday, and I think it's around 4 o'clock. South Carolina is hosting Coastal Carolina. That game's at 4:15 on Saturday. South Carolina's a 24.5 point favorite, and if you guys watched last week, South Carolina with a 30-3 lead going into the half, and came out in the second half and got just smoked and ended up losing that game 31-30 in the second half to Texas A&M. And this is a huge spot where you're coming off just a devastating loss, and now you've got to host a Coastal Carolina team that not only can move the ball but score some points, and will do so. And as long as they can score some points, I really believe they're going to keep this within the number. Saturday afternoon, Coastal Carolina at South Carolina. Madman play at 4 o'clock on Saturday. Take the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers to cover that 24.5. Again, take Coastal Carolina plus the 24.5 on Saturday. Tennessee and Florida, another big game this weekend. And I know Florida, it looks like they've quit at times, but I really believe that they will show up in this game. This is a rival. This is every year. This is the game for Florida. This is their chance to spoil somebody's opportunity. And as bad as they've looked and as bad as they've played, knowing that they've just pretty much give up on the season, they're at home. They're catching 4.5. They're at 3-7. Tennessee sitting at 7-3. And Florida would love nothing more than to ruin the chances of Tennessee getting anywhere in the bowl season. Saturday night at 7:30, Madman play. Take the Florida Gators plus the 4.5 against Tennessee this weekend. Next one on the board, Army 5-4, Tulsa 3-7. I know that Army's playing for a bowl shot right here to get bowl eligibility, and normally teams step up and play a little better at that time, but 10.5 is an awful lot of points to be laying. They are at home. They're hosting Tulsa. Tulsa keeps those games close. Tulsa plays close with about everybody, even the big guys. Saturday, 12 o'clock, Madman play. Take Tulsa plus the 10.5 as they keep this game within a touchdown versus Army. SMU minus 2.5 against Louisville. SMU at home hosting Louisville. Louisville off a real close loss to Clemson last week. Both of these teams are sitting at 7-3. SMU definitely has something to play for. So does Louisville. The winner might have a shot at sneaking into that ACC championship game with a whole lot of help. SMU hosting Louisville Saturday, 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock body time for Louisville as they go across the time zone. So, Madman play 12 o'clock on Saturday. Take SMU minus the 2.5 against Louisville. Wyoming minus 6.5 against Nevada. Wyoming's at home. Really, the only reason I like this game is because they just play better football at home versus out on the road. Nevada's 2-8. If I'm not mistaken, Nevada come off a pretty big win last week shocking somebody and getting a win. Wyoming sitting at 4-6. This game's at 2 o'clock on Saturday. Madman play for 2 o'clock Saturday afternoon. Take Wyoming minus the 6.5 against Nevada. 3 o'clock game on Saturday. UAB, they're at home hosting South Florida. South Florida's 7-3. UAB is 3-7. UAB has found a way to hang around in some of these games. They're definitely not going to win, in my personal opinion. I just don't think they can pull their outright upset. However, catching 21.5 against the South Florida team, which might have a little bit of distractions, as I mentioned earlier, with Golesh taking some phone calls and possibly taking a job later this year. He could be manning some phone calls. That does create some distractions. South Florida does still have something to play for, even though they're sitting there at 7-3. But I just don't think they'll pull away in this game. UAB will score some points and keep it within the number. 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon, Madman play. Take the UAB Blazers plus the 21.5 against South Florida Bulls as they keep this number under 21. East Carolina goes on the road after a comeback win last week. If you didn't see the ending of that game, they go on the road to UTSA to play the Road Runners. East Carolina minus 2.5 out on the road. They play a little worse on the road than they do at home. East Carolina sitting at 7-3. UTSA is sitting at 5-5. This is a game where I do believe UTSA is going to play up to try to get bowl eligibility. Catching that 2.5. 3:30 on Saturday afternoon. Take the Road Runners of UTSA against East Carolina, and they might even pull the outright upset. Again, take those Road Runners of UTSA plus the 2.5 against East Carolina. Temple at home hosting Tulane. Tulane is 8-2. Temple's 5-5. Tulane is 8.5 point favorite. That line, I believe, will continue to drop. Temple's played real good ball of late, and I believe that they can keep this game pretty close. Again, Tulane's 8-2. Temple's 5-5. Temple's hosting this game, which I believe will help having that home field crowd behind you. Look for Temple to keep this thing within a touchdown. Saturday at home, take Temple plus the 8.5 against Tulane Saturday afternoon. And guys, college football dog of the week this week. We're going back to the well. We've used this team a couple times this year. I really like their chances this week. It just seems like they've been a thorn in some sides the last couple weeks. I believe that they can keep this game close. I'm going to get some better information here so I can get the records on these two teams. Petrino, he's had them playing ball. They just can't seem to get that win underneath their belt. But they've kept some games close here lately. They've give up two big fourth quarter leads and got beat. They kept a game close last week, if I'm not mistaken, against Tennessee. Back to the well again. Arkansas goes on the road to play Texas. And Texas, after a devastating, hard-hitting Georgia game last week and come out on the short end, I believe that right there just might have been enough to derail Texas. On top of the fact that Texas plays Texas A&M next week in a look-ahead spot, and they are going to overlook Arkansas this week as Arkansas sneaks into Texas and may pull the outright upset. Guys, this week, come on Petrino, do your thing this weekend. Dog of the week, Madman Dog of the week. Take those Razorbacks of Arkansas plus the 10 against Texas, as we feel like they're going to have a shot to pull the outright upset against the Longhorns. Again, guys, Saturday afternoon at 3:30, take those Razorbacks as the Madman Dog of the week, and let's cash this ticket, Arkansas plus 10 against Texas this weekend. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to talk a little NFL in just a couple minutes. We appreciate everybody. Before we take that break, make sure you get over to all of our social media. Follow us everywhere. Get over to YouTube. Get over to madmanclub.com. All of the picks, NFL plays, college plays, and that dog of the week is over at the website. Get registered today. All you got to have is an email to get registered. Set up your password. Check us out on all the podcast platforms. Get over to YouTube. Watch our full podcast. All of our short reels are on YouTube. They're also on TikTok. Guys, we'll be back in just a couple minutes with some NFL. Welcome back in, guys. Madman Club Betting Podcast. We're going to dive into some NFL real quick. Over on the website, guys, sometimes we make some changes. I've said this a couple times throughout the season, but on the website, sometimes we will throw another pick in or make a change. If we see some drastic changes in one of our plays, we will absolutely change that play. It normally does not happen, so I don't want people to think we're changing these things all the time. We're talking about if something like a serious injury or something like that comes up. But outside that, these plays are the plays we bet. These are the plays we stand behind. These are the plays we roll with. But we will also add a play or two from time to time over on the website. That's the only place we can update it as quickly as we need to, so that everybody has access to it. So there will be some plays from time to time added to the website. Guys, real quick, back to a couple of things in college I did not go over a second ago. A couple more plays we really like, and we'll hit them real quick. Over UAB and South Florida, 69.5. Really like that play. Over Texas, Arkansas. I think both of these teams are going to score some points. Over Tulane, Temple, 56.5. I think that UAB and South Florida can score as many as they want to, and I believe they will. So I think that game's going to go over. The same with that Texas, Arkansas. Arkansas can score some points, it just don't have a defense. So look for them to score some points against Texas and keep that game close. That Tulane-Temple game, same thing. I think these two teams can score some points. Real quick over in the NFL, just a couple plays right now. Again, we may update the website with a few plays we really like this weekend. But as of right now, we do have a couple plays that we're going to tell you about. One of which, and guys, everybody always talked all season about New Orleans being the worst team in football. They've actually not looked terrible in several games this year. Atlanta comes to town. New Orleans is a 1.5 point favorite, and this is a game that I really like. Penix is gone. Kirk Cousins, as you know, we just got to hope for him to be Kirk Cousins as normal. That way he'll throw a couple picks, and one of those may be a pick six. But game we really like for Sunday, 4:25 in the afternoon, Atlanta on the road to New Orleans. Take the Saints as Kellen Moore gets his third win of the season. Take those Saints at home minus the 1.5 against the Atlanta Falcons on Sunday. Another game we like real well. I think Jacksonville's playing the better ball out of about anybody in the NFL right now when it comes to defense. They've played real well these last couple weeks. Last week, if I'm not mistaken, they beat the Chargers, and I'm trying to pull this up to see, but not having any luck. So anyway, they're on the road. They play at Arizona. They're minus a 2.5. I really believe that Jacksonville, yes, Chargers beat them 35-6. They did lose to the Texans the week before. They beat the Raiders the week before that. Lost to the Rams, but they have played pretty good ball. They're on the road at Arizona. Arizona, I just don't think Arizona's a real good football team, even though their defense is pretty good. So, guys, Sunday afternoon at 4:25, Madman play. Take the Jacksonville Jaguars against the Arizona Cardinals Sunday afternoon. Guys, that's the only couple plays we got for the show today on the NFL. We probably will add a couple plays as we get closer to Sunday. Those plays will be posted as quick as we can get them up, and they will be posted before game time. So, again, guys, get aboard that Madman train. Let's get to the window and cash some tickets. Tell all your friends about the Madman Betting Podcast, as we're up over 110 units right now through the season, and we still got a few weeks to go, so hopefully we can pad those numbers. Bowl season's right around the corner. We're going to have a ton of plays during the bowl season. The playoffs are coming for the NFL and college. Ton of plays there. And guys, as we go into next year, we're going to have some futures as we talk about some of those futures for college and NFL when we get over into July. We are excited about the next couple years of the Madman as we continue to roll this train to the station and cash some tickets. But guys, for today, that is a wrap. Guys, remember, just continue to bet smart and bet like a madman.